Why therapy businesses fail and what you need to do to make sure that your therapy business succeeds. I'm Jonathan Butler, and I am founder of Help for Hypnotherapists, helping hypnotherapists and other therapists to build thriving, successful therapy practices. And here's the reality. Building a new business is hard. Any business is hard. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes consistency, and it takes patience. But building a therapy business, I would suggest, from having spent my career building businesses, this is one of the hardest businesses you can build. It's the hardest business I've ever had to build. Much more complicated than I ever thought. And I thought I'd built some significantly challenging businesses. So this is a really, really unique and challenging business to build. And the majority of us come into building our therapy business because we want to help people. We want to help people. We are on a mission to succeed. So our primary focus is actually about helping people doing the work that we love. Whereas a lot of other people, when they come into starting a business, yes, of course, more than likely they're going to be interested in the business they're in. They're hopefully going to be passionate about that. But they're primarily going to be starting a business because they want to make money. They're going to be focused upon the business side. So typically what I see with a lot of therapists is they come from the perspective of wanting to do good, wanting to help, wanting to make a difference in the world, wanting to do what they love. And the business aspects take a back seat. It is not the primary focus. And also, as I'm sure many of you will recognize this or resonate with many of you, most people who want to do therapy are not comfortable with a lot of the aspects of business, not comfortable with asking for money, not comfortable with chasing for payments, not comfortable with sales, with marketing, with technology. All of those things are incredibly challenging for a lot of therapists. So here's what you really need to think about. Okay, so if you are starting a therapy business, you're thinking of starting a therapy business, if you're new in doing it, remember the two words. It's a therapy business. Therapy business. It is two halves of the whole. And what most of us will do, and I did it myself, is we will decide we want to be a therapist. We will go and do our training. We will be fantastic at it. We'll be well equipped. And because most of the training schools are fantastic, they're really good at what they do. They've been doing it for years. They know exactly how to equip you to go out there and be a good hypnotist, hypnotherapist, counselor, whatever sort of therapist that you are, you will be well equipped to do that because the schools will be teaching you something that is very, very constant. And then we get to the end of that period, we've done our training, we're ready to go, and we expect the clients to come. And of course, they don't, because we are not going into the NHS, most of us. We're not going into apply for a job with this skill. We're generally going to be working for ourselves. So we have to find the clients, we have to build the business. But what most people will have done is they'll have spent a year, 2 years training, then they come out of it, and then they start thinking, well, actually, I need some more training. I need to be more comfortable with this. I need to be a bit more comfortable with this before I start getting clients. And then maybe they get another 6 months or a year down the track, and then they start trying to build the business. And it's hard. And the clients don't come that quickly, and the money doesn't come that quickly. And this is where many therapists fall by the wayside. They either give up or they never get off this being a hobby or a sideline. And a lot of people never get to this being their main work, their main income, the thing that people want it to be. And so people could easily find themselves in a year and a half, 2 years of training, and then have another year and a half, 2 years of trying to get the business going. And of course, people do fall by the wayside. They'll either lose their enthusiasm, quite likely run out of money, and need to go back to doing what they did before, or doing something else, or just keeping this as a hobby and a sideline. That happens to too many people. So how do you avoid that? you think of this as the whole, the therapy, the marketing, the business, so the therapy and the business. And you have to look at these two things in parallel, because when you decide to commit to building a therapy business, you commit to doing your training. You will go out there and find the best school for you. You'll find a good course with something that's proven, something that works, something that you feel comfortable with. At the same time, and I mean at the same time, you need to be working out how you're going to get the skills to build the business. And that is primarily the key things you need to focus upon are the marketing and the sales. The other things you can learn as you go. If you don't have marketing producing leads, and if you don't understand some of the basics of sales to convert those conversations into clients who pay you money, who pay you good money, that values what you do, you don't have a business. The administration side of it, you'll never get to that. So you need to be able to do those things in common. So in common and in parallel. Okay, so how can you do that? Obviously, the easiest, most logical way is to go to the training school that you're using, who are training you to be a therapist. And most of them will have some kind of programs. However, here's the challenge is for them, they are teaching a constant. Okay, it's kind of evolving, but most therapies, most psychotherapies are things that are pretty well established, pretty well understood, been around for a long time, hundreds of years in some cases. Okay, so these things are pretty well established and the school knows how to teach that. It's maybe evolving, adding to the knowledge, but it's a pretty constant thing. But the reality is that the marketing side of this is certainly not a constant. Just think over the last few years, how much has the business side changed? If you went for therapy even 3 or 4 years ago, before the pandemic, you would be typically looking for somebody in your local area. You'd maybe know them from their premises on the high street. You'd maybe know them from local paper, looking locally online, from word of mouth, from other people, from local magazines, local recommendations. You would be going to a local person to you, and there would be a fairly steady supply of those people. So here's the first thing that's really changed, and that is the level of competition. That level of competition. So going back 4 or 5 years ago, before the pandemic, you in your local area, say you're looking for a hypnotist or a hypnotherapist, there'd have been a few of them in your local town, a few of them in your local area, some leaving, retiring, new junior ones coming in, working their way up. A few new people coming in fairly regularly, but a fairly constant supply of people in your local area. What's happened since then? There have been thousands, maybe tens of thousands of new therapists, of new hypnotherapists, of new hypnotists, of other types of therapists who have been coming into the marketplace, like yourselves. And that's become possible because of the pandemic and because of technology. The pandemic led many of us to look for a change in our lives. The use of technology allowed people to train online, to learn online, to collaborate online, and of course to work online. So right now, there are hundreds, probably thousands of new therapists in your field being trained all around the world. So the competition has changed significantly. Yes, the market has grown, there is more demand for therapy, but the supply has increased significantly. And the opportunity has grown because you can now access people depending on what kind of therapy you do. Obviously, there are some therapies that require physical contact, but for lots of psychotherapies, your marketplace becomes, if you're an English speaker, your marketplace becomes pretty much global. Okay, so that has changed, but also your competition has become global as well. So you need to understand that. And when your training school was building its own therapy practice, the world was a very different place. They were coming from a world where you operated locally, you went to your local people, and it was a fairly steady market. So now things have changed massively. So your first port of call should be to look at what your training provider offers. Is it good? Is it relevant? Do they really understand what it takes to market a business, that business in the current world? And marketing a training business is very different to marketing a startup therapy business. So really think about that. Is that really going to give you what you want? Or is that just simply a bolt-on? And is it the same as teaching everybody else as well? Because you need to stand out in this world of competition. So your other options are obviously to go and look at all the things that are out there on the market. And now this is where part of the challenge comes, because a lot of people go, well, I've had some training from my training provider in marketing, but it's a kind of a byproduct. It's maybe not that great. It's maybe not that up to date, and I'd like a bit more. And also I'm coming at this a bit late because I didn't realize that I didn't think about how much I needed to do this. I didn't think of it as the whole, as the therapy and the business side of it. So people go out into the market, and this is the issue, is that the market for marketing, the marketing service, is like the Wild West. You go online, you start looking for these things, you're suddenly going to start hitting into the algorithms where you're going to get bombarded with adverts of people trying to sell you appointment settings. Learn Facebook, learn Instagram, learn Google Ads. You're going to get all these people contacting you, promising you they'll get you 10 appointments in a day, and whatever it is. So you're going to get hit with all of these people trying to sell you things, okay? And these things may be interesting. They may be interesting. Some of them may be good. Some of them may be bad. But hardly any of those people who are approaching you with those, let's call them shiny things, will actually really understand what it takes to market a therapy business, because it is very different to other businesses. It has a very, very different dynamic. And it's also really important that when you're looking for what it is, you don't think about shiny things. So just, again, thinking about the two halves of the whole. When you do your therapy training, you learn a modality, you learn methodology, you learn techniques, you learn a system, okay? You learn a system. And it is just the same for growing your business. You can't go out there and do, well, you can, you go out there and do random things, buying adverts, posting things on Facebook, doing all these things. You're going to expend a lot of energy, a lot of time, a lot of money, probably get very, very frustrated that you're not really getting consistent results. And because you're doing this in a random way, you won't even really know what it is that works if you do hit upon something that delivers for you. So you need, just like you do with your therapy training, you need a system that is going to position you correctly, a position that is going to put your offers out there in the right way. It's going to attract the right kind of clients and enable you to convert those clients convert those prospects into clients who see and will pay you well for the high value that you provide. So you need that system. And there are some people out there who can do that for you. And of course, we are one of those at Boost Academy. So Help Hypnotherapists exists to share knowledge on how you can help build your successful hypnotherapy practice. And within Boost Academy, which is basically our marketing business training arm, we teach therapists, hypnotherapists, hypnotists, and other therapists in similar kind of therapies how to build a successful business. We teach you the model that worked for me to take me from failing, from nearly having to bail out of this journey, into having a thriving 6-figure business where I work the hours that I want. And you can have that too. So I hope you find that helpful. Please do check out helpforhypnotherapists.com. And if you go into the courses tab, you can see all the courses that we offer where we teach the systems that worked for me and that work with my other clients to help them build that successful business. So my takeaway from this for you is, when you are, whatever stage you're at on your journey, you need to think of your therapy business as therapy business, two halves of the whole. Give them at least equal weighting. In fact, you probably want to put even more time, attention, money and effort into the business, the marketing and the sales side, because actually that's the part where there is less clarity. Learning what you do will be easy. And many people, too many people, worry about the wrong things. They worry they need more training. They worry they need more qualifications, the letters that go after their name. They worry about should they be using scripts. And the reality is none of these things really, in the scheme of things, matter. What matters is you get your good therapy training and you've got a good system that's going to get you the clients so you can deliver all that goodness, all that help that you want to give people. So I'm Jonathan Butler. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.